What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. My greatest love-hate relationship in the 20 years of Yu-Gi-Oh's existence is returning. It's Legacy of the Duelist. So, Legacy of the Duelist came out, I believe, around 2015, and there's a lot of really good things about it that I personally enjoyed, and it was a boom for Yu-Gi-Oh! It really brought a lot of old players back to look at the game when it dropped. It had like a $20 price point, which was super affordable to get into. I don't think a lot of people are complaining about dropping $20 on a game. It has a decent story mode. Now, some people did complain about the DLC, and I'm gonna shrug that one off. I'm gonna chalk it up to, man, you guys, you spent $20 on this game. There's a $5 structure deck, and it had like Jin in it, it had hero stuff in it, so I guess all the people who were big fans of Jaden were, no, not $5 more. That doesn't matter to me. My gripes are gonna be different later on, but let's talk about the good stuff of Legacy of the Duelist. What won my heart over? So, the cards are essentially all unlockable by grinding, except what's behind the DLC walls. And the DLC walls weren't that thick. I think I spent $45 in total on the game itself, while it was newer. And I think it was really awesome that the story mode was so palatable that I found myself getting nostalgia trips from it while grinding out these cards for competitive decks and packs. And it was pretty awesome. So you could go through Duelist Kingdom arcs, you could go through GX, 5Ds, and all the way through Arc V and Pendulum Summoning. So I'm sure there's a ton of people who will be complaining about the new master mechanic of Link Summoning in YouTube comment sections extra from now on. Look forward to that, you other tubers. But for me, Legacy of the Duelist was really fun in those aspects. And I was a younger streamer then. I was like at 5,000 subs. I got the maximum of like 32 people streamed. So to really state how much this blew up the Yu-Gi-Oh! Online scene, I started getting 230 people streams without that great of quality of like knowing how to be a streamer, knowing what I was doing. I was just in the top 8 ranked consistently, which is a pretty decent draw, and people would come to see like what actual Yu-Gi-Oh! Would look like from the higher ranked players on the system. And why I stayed in the top 8 ranked is so that in case there was a Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals or Worlds for this video game, I would be hopefully invited or able to climb the ladder faster and play. So let's get into my gripes. First off, there was no system to stop win trading at all. None of it. And this was a pretty big problem because you would see people jump 300 duels worth of points in a singular day. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh!, you know you cannot physically possibly play 300 games in a single day. There were 4 to 5 legit people that I constantly ran into on the ladder that were up there in the top 8 with me, but there were several bad apples that were just win trading to, haha, my name's up there, I matter, and that kind of stuff. They weren't actually playing the game. And this was a pretty big thing for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene, so that unregulated, abusable aspect through PS4 and Xbox, it was weird, which might be why this is only on one system announced so far, the Nintendo Switch. Yu-Gi-Oh! Trying to get some of that Pokemon money, as it were, into the Pokemon fans. But oddly enough, so far only the Nintendo Switch. We get more details on February 21st in the V-Jump, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually on the edge of my seat. I have a Nintendo Switch. I'm ready to download this. I'm ready to play it, despite my gripes. And let's really dig into it. First off, a major complaint was attack animations and not having enough of them, or them being terrible for 2015. Yeah, I would love to see an awesome Blue Eyes summon or Stardust Dragon and it look really nice, but it's not what I expect from Konami. In fact, even if they were amazing, just to get through things faster and try to get more wins in on the competitive ladder, I would turn the animations off, even if they were amazing, and just turn them on when I was grinding in story mode, maybe. Like, those aren't what's important to the game to me as a competitive player, but I do understand the gripe of, you want your monsters to look freaking nice when we're about to step into this age of graphics where you can make things look real, and this is Konami. Konami can do it, and they're just not putting forth the effort. The second thing is the interface. It was slower and clunky, and if you don't know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't have online simulators that are official. Everything is unofficial that you can play online and not an actual game, which is why it doesn't get much traction. Konami doesn't put forth something you can play real Yu-Gi-Oh! On. There is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, but that is a game played using Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards that is not actually playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As it were. And to my chagrin, 2 months into grinding this game and staying in the top 8, there's no competitive aspect, there's no worlds, I'm told there's no chance of it, and I'm just like, oh man, I've done all this time, all this grinding, all these feels. I've met duelists that have actually, like, I talked to online. There's this guy named the Kitty Sensei. He was playing, actually, a raccoon deck to make Naturia Beast and shut down Cleaforts, and yeah, that's the Pendulum deck everyone's complaining about, Cleaforts. Of course, that's a terrible introduction to Pendulums. And also, like, shut down Necros decks by making Naturia Beast and then dealing with BA summoning his Raccoon Xyz, and it was really actually awesome to watch that guy work and stay in the top 100 rated. Like, I met people that are memorable duelists as if I'm an anime character throughout playing this online simulator that were pretty cool to watch and talk to and be with, and I remember today. Like, that's awesome, but to have no competitive endgame for all that grinding, like, to know that you, Konami, are using old technology, a clunky system, not refining it, taking people's money, and you have no endgame for the players, period. That sucks. Look at Duel Links. You send like 32 people out to Worlds, pay for 32 travel on what you make tens of millions a year on. And that's it. And that's all I'm asking for. That's all I want as a competitive player, is a chance towards that. Not tournaments that put out prizes online, not that kind of stuff. I'm asking for once a year for you to look at your ranked people, invite them to a nationals, take one of those people and send them to Worlds. One. Or more if you really are feeling generous. That's all I'm asking for, is a competitive endgame that really hypes your system for these millions that you're making for relatively free. And I think it would drive more people to the game. It would get a lot more interest. Oh, now there's something to play for. I hope there's something to play for. You also don't include promos anymore, which is why the price is kind of cheaper, I assume. We'll see the price of our brand new Legacy of the Duelist here. But the old feeling of opening up a Game Boy game and getting special promotional cards, whether they sucked or whether they were awesome. Actually, one of the Blue Eyes promotional cards is one of the most valued Yu-Gi-Oh cards there is in Blue Eyes from the original Dark Duel stories. But here we just have nothing but we're getting that online digital receipt, we're clocking in and playing towards nothing. It kind of left me empty with that, despite like the other things I got enjoying it, because what's the point in continuing to grind just to put your name up on somewhere where someone can win trade for? What's the actual point of that? I hope these things get fixed, and I really look forward to the new evolution with Brains. Yeah, I think they kind of avoided the name Brains here, but that's fair. Not everybody's apt to it or would know what it is, so Link summoning is what people are going to be coming into. They're going to start out playing, just seeing what Yu-Gi-Oh's like. And whenever you step into that realm of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like any other competitive game. You either beat and you're like, screw this, on to the next game, or it really lights that fire in you, and you want to get better. You want to become that guy that just beat you. You want to be able to beat them or stand on equal footing. And that's what I really hope from this game. I hope it expands the community. I hope you get a new updated system instead of just going back to that old one. I hope that you actually make this fresh and put work into it, and at the end of the day, there's something to play for. Like, that's all. That's all. That's it. That's what would make me happy. But again, do consider the attack animations for the critics. Do consider the story mode, which I personally enjoyed. Do consider all the aspects that make this game fun, and don't throw up a huge wall of DLC. If you make it anything similar to last time, it's fine. If you actually made this, if you had a Nationals and you charged $10 a month to play this, so many of the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene would be in here constantly grinding, and it wouldn't take away necessarily from the real world Yu-Gi-Oh. That might be a worry too, that, oh, if this is huge, Legacy of the Duelist is huge, it's gonna take away from real-world people playing the card game, or it's gonna take away from Duel Links, so we have to continue to find a way to make money off of it. Well, yeah, it's gonna be an alternative to Duel Links because it's real Yu-Gi-Oh on something that feels real as a game, and I would hope people move towards it, but at the same time, people have a lot of free time and end up playing both. You can see it from yourself on how much people actually bought the old Legacy of the Duelist, or how many people are going to dive into this. So that being said, that's just my thoughts on it, and a rant from me, hoping that this becomes more than just something of a relic. Oh, another complaint is it never actually caught up to the real format in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which I'm somewhat fine with, but it started to get into made-up formats. Snatch Steal was running around for far too long after it was banned. Like, I'm fine playing past formats and updating slower, just as long as you take care to update the game. Updates were sorely missing from the last not legendary duels, but Legacy of the Duels, and I hope you do consider that here also. But if you enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! And you want to see modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, subscribe if you haven't already, like this video if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to more news about this and actually playing Legacy of the Duelist again, if not just for the story mode, but hopefully more is there.